In a market defined by uncertainty, where every second counts, one opportunity can change everything. Are you ready to make your move? The time is now! Welcome to the Dream is Real podcast.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to the Dream is Real podcast. This is the place if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, even advance your career in New York real estate. Before we get started, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. We don't want you to miss an episode as we keep bringing you great content. And you know, the real estate market hinges on many things. One of them is building supply. Today we are here with Hiral Pital, the sales director for MSI, basically all things surfaces. And Hiral, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Welcome. So you're building supply. Can't build houses, can't renovate houses without the right materials, right?
Absolutely not. Not with the right coverings, the finishing products.
So MSI, I see that you built to over $2 billion in revenue.
Yes.
Worldwide company.
Yes.
It supports over 400,000 workers all over the planet.
Yes.
So not a small operation, and it's again not a small part of the market either.
Not at all. I mean, we bring a lot of value nationwide. In North America is where we do business, US and Canada. We're based out of Brentwood here locally on the island. And yeah, we warehouse everything. We import it ourselves. We develop these products with the factories overseas. We warehouse it here, and we display our products in all of our showrooms nationwide. And we make sure that everything is ready to ship when the project requires it.
Got it. Okay. And what about yourself? How did you get into the industry?
How did I? That's very interesting. My buddy worked there as a sales rep at MSI out of our Edison location, and they needed someone to route the trucks. So I said, hey, I put my name in the hat, started routing the trucks, and then I fell in love with the industry. I came in not knowing anything, and I found myself curious on a day-to-day basis. I was always asking questions, always wanting to learn more. And it intrigued me, and I'm still learning new things to this day. So
You generally an inquisitive person? Or?
always.
So what was it about the industry that drew you in to make it more than just a job?
To simplify things, I was curious who, when, and how someone picked up a rock from the ground, polished it, and realized that, hey, wow, this is revealing some really nice designs, patterns, colors. So then they must have expanded at some point and dug up a bigger rock and said, hey, why don't we try this out as a countertop product? I know years ago, people were using a 4x4, 6x6 tile to create a nice countertop. But now you can have something that's seamless, no grout, multiple designs, patterns, colors, and you can actually accentuate the rest of your room with that as a focal point.
And well, from a natural perspective, the natural stones, I mean, you're getting something that's absolutely unique.
Yes, it's almost one of one.
Right. Right, and then on the other side, that which is fabricated is still quite unique in itself. And then we'll get into the different surfaces and all that. So you now are in the role as sales director.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you are spinning the dream to your clientele, and I'm sure providing great service because when you're in the midst of a project, you want to make sure, one, that the materials are high quality, and two, that you can get them on time, and that who you're working with is going to be able to provide them in a manner that is satisfactory.
And things always change in the construction industry. Things get delayed, some things get pushed up, which is very rare, but nowadays things are getting delayed. And we have to support who we are working with and make sure, hey, we're going to have a truck available. We're going to have your material available in the warehouse. So these are kind of things that we manage and mitigate the issues on the back end. And so it's not just selling, it's also following through and making sure the delivery gets there on time.
And that's what we started in the industry, right?
Yeah,
Now on the sales
routing
side.
the trucks.
Routing the trucks. So how does that translate over now to dealing direct to customer and helping them and setting the right expectations and everything that's involved with it? Because everybody wants their material yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. And I think you said it right, just setting the expectation level. Knowing and having that foundation of routing the trucks or logistics, let's call it, set a good baseline and foundation for me to make sure I'm communicating the expectations levels properly on the front end, So anyone walking into the showroom, we're able to guide them on what steps they need to take to make sure that the product they see in our showroom can be used in their upcoming project.
Right. So talking about the industry itself, I mean, we can go back far. I mean, building materials has always been, a cornerstone from the real estate, from construction, but particularly in the last 6 years, going all the way back to COVID, there have certainly been some barriers to efficiency, to logistics.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure world events, even recently, impact your industry. So as much as you can delve into that, how have companies like MSI navigated all the hurdles that have come up?
I mean, not to go too much into detail, but for example, tariffs last year were implemented across the board for multiple product lines. So what we do is we have a very, I would say, knowledgeable product team who's able to pivot to different countries, different factories. So for example, if a product A was coming out of country A or country one, and let's say that country is being imposed with tariffs on that product line, we'll try to shift that product line to a different country. This way, we're not increasing the overall cost for the end consumer, the homeowner.
Right.
We want to have it impact them as less as possible. And sometimes we even negotiate with the factories. We absorb half of the tariff, they absorb half of the tariff. So let's say something is in the news as a 20% tariff. We'll try to mitigate it down to 10% between us and the factory. And this way, a small percentage of it gets passed to the homeowner.
Sure, because ultimately what happens at the quarry, what happens, on the seas, at every point, I mean, we could probably, there's many points from quarry to countertop.
Yes.
Every little factor can impact the bottom line for the homeowner, right?
100%. And what we try to focus on is what's in our control. We can control where we order from. We can't control the cost of crude oil because the ships do require oil. We can't.
Sure, that's a factor as well.
Yeah,
Fuel
is a factor.
Time of this taping, everybody's wondering where the price of fuel is going to go.
I'll give you another example. When a certain strait or canal is blocked or we're not allowed to pass through it, we have to find a new route for the ship to pass through. And it might be a longer route. So now that ship can only make X amount of round trips per year, increasing their overall overhead cost for the year per trip. I mean, there are so many steps, like you mentioned, the different touch points, and this is the material not even arriving to this country yet.
I can't even imagine. If I have to pivot to use a different bridge to get off of Long Island, it impacts my day tremendously. I can imagine not being able to take a particular waterway and have to find another global route. Yeah. So what you're saying is that MSI has the reach to be able to pivot, to pull from resources that will ultimately help to make it more affordable for the consumer. Because I've been on the site. A lot of what you deal with could be absolutely in the luxury category, and is this ultimately the strategy to keep things affordable?
I think we have something for everyone. We have multiple product lines at multiple price points to ensure that if you like something, you're able to walk away by making a selection. Even though you may have fallen in love with the nicer product, we still have something within your budget that looks like the nicer product or performs like the nicer product ultimately. So you're not making sacrifices anywhere along the way,
Right.
as a homeowner.
Right, and I can't think of anyone within a transaction from a real estate perspective that doesn't benefit from that. You know?
Absolutely.
If you're the buyer, you're in your dream home and you want to make it your dream home.
Correct.
If you're the seller and you're looking to upgrade, then ultimately you want to be able to do so at the most affordable rate. And if you're an investor and you're looking in the fix and flip, you definitely want things to be affordable, but you want to be able to sell fast.
Absolutely.
So that's where all that lines up.
100%. And everyone wants to customize it to their liking. And you spend a lot of your time in your home. You might have different requirements than what you purchased the home with. So it's always good to customize it to your liking.
Do you get a sense of where a lot of the sales are going? New, I guess it would depend on the part of the country, right? New home builds versus renovations.
Not necessarily. We don't personally track that. I'm sure there's other companies that do track that. But we work with everyone. We work with new home builds. We work with someone putting up 300 units. We'll work with the fabricator who's helping John and Joe pick a countertop for their home or for their vanity top. So we don't really turn anyone away. We work with everyone.
Great. And so everything from the quartz countertop to the acoustic wall paneling surfaces. So basically all things surfaces, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we cover, I say this jokingly to some of my clients, we cover just about everything except the paint and the toilet.
Oh, okay. Right. So on raw materials or all finished stones?
I would say we're more of the supplier, so we will bring in the slabs that will still need to be cut down to size and installed. We don't do any of the labor portion of it, but when it comes to, for example, to flooring or the acoustic panels, those can be drop shipped to curbside to a home. And then the contractor can come and do their thing and just install it.
Oh, nice. So that's handy. So, and I know I've been on your website. It's MSISurfaces.com. Is that right?
Yeah, www.msisurfaces.com.
Cool. We'll make sure to circle back to that at the end. But great looking website. You've got visualizers on there. You've got a lot of great tools on there as well. So
yeah, what we like to do is we have blogs. You know, they talk about trends that are in the market. You mentioned the visualizer. What's cool is you could take a picture of any room and upload it and change the flooring or change the countertop to some of our products, just so you can understand what it would look like with that product in your home and help you make a decision faster.
Let's talk a little bit about trends.
Okay.
So what you, obviously being on the sales side, you see what's going out. Do you see any trends of particular projects that right now are seemingly more popular?
I mean, one big one we've all seen in the last 10 years is white and gray in the kitchens,
Okay.
right? White shaker cabinets, white quartz countertop with some sort of gray veining in it, white walls. I think that's now not so trendy. People are moving more towards creams, ivories, warmer tones. They're being bold with sage greens and using more chocolate browns and those types of things. And what we do as a company is every year we come up with trends that we see in the market from the previous year, and we actually publish them on our page. We actually have all of our products in our showrooms displayed with the trends. So that's something that's openly accessible to everyone.
What are some of the biggest challenges that your industry faces right now?
Right now, I would say there's a huge shortage on natural gas, which is affecting production of porcelain, for example. So some of our suppliers are actually closed. They don't have the material they need to do what they need to do to supply our product. And then there's the Strait of Hormuz right now is kind of up in the air, let's call it. So until those things are finalized, and I don't think we can move forward. And knowing what's gonna happen, I'd love to answer you further, but I really can't.
Right. Well, I don't think anybody really.
It's out of our hands
really
at
knows,
this point.
But it's interesting that the natural gas piece has a role. I guess natural fuels have a role in a lot of things that
Yes.
we take for granted on a daily basis. Exactly where in that process, and how does that impact the porcelain?
It's production. So they use
Okay.
LPG gas to produce porcelain. That's their fuel, if you will.
Got it. And that's
It's a shortage right now.
and a lot of we from time to time have guests that are in and around your industry, and the trend has been more of a use of porcelain in recent years, right?
Yeah. And why I think that is because, marble or some natural stones require a little bit more maintenance than porcelain. And porcelain does a great job of imitating natural stone. It's basically, you can print whatever you want. We can print tiles with my face on it or your face. I don't know if they'll sell well.
You wouldn't want that, yeah.
But we
You
can't
don't do commodes,
that.
so that's good.
We can't do that, but porcelain technology is getting better and better, and ever since they introduced inkjet technology in porcelain, it's kind of like a printer, if you will, right? You have an inkjet printer that prints lines, and then you have a pattern when it's done. So porcelain is very similar in that regard from the manufacturing standpoint.
And you don't have to seal porcelain, right?
Nope.
There's little to no maintenance of it other than keeping it clean.
Yeah, it's just the grout, and that's gonna happen with anything you install.
Right.
You're gonna have grout there anyways.
However, we need a couple of waterways to open up so that we don't get bogged down there.
Yes,
and that we
yes.
can keep the porcelain pricing where it needs
Yes,
to be.
and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that, and hopefully things get better.
So let's say, worst case scenario, porcelain is continuously held up. And I'm sure what we're talking about here can impact other materials as well.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
What's a more readily available stone or fabricated, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not fabricated stone. What would porcelain be? I mean, you have your natural stone, and porcelain would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think porcelain is it. We wouldn't really pivot in any other direction. We may just pivot to a different country to source it from.
Oh, okay.
Someone that can get it to us faster. Somewhere where, hey, it's closer. As far as supply chain goes, it's closer logistically. Even though the cost might be high, when everything's said and done, it balances out to the same number that we're currently working with.
So with porcelain having those advantages, why would somebody want the natural stone? Is it more of like hey, I want natural stone, or is there benefits to that?
I think when you want natural stone, you want natural stone.
That's fair.
I don't know how else to put it. It has its own beauty. I know we said it's one of one, right? You won't see it anywhere else. How many times have you bought a shirt and you see your buddies wearing the same shirt because you guys shop at the same store, right?
Now us guys, we're a little more lenient on that. Like, we got the same shirt.
Yeah.
My daughter goes to prom. Somebody else is wearing her dress. She's taking her earrings out. She's ready to roll. No, you're right. There's nothing like a one of a kind, and ultimately with the natural stone, that's what you get.
The uniqueness, it's there. I mean, personally, I have natural stone in my home to this day. It's just something, if you're a natural stone person, that's what you gravitate towards.
Yeah, and the maintenance on natural stone's not crazy, right?
It's not.
We're talking very simple. You don't have to be a contractor to seal stone.
No, you don't. I've sealed my stone myself. It's kind of, this is how I put it. It's kind of like your car. You use it more, you change your oil more frequently. You use it less, you change your oil less frequently. Sealing is a very easy process. There are many sealers in the market that are literally, you clean the countertop or your floor, whatever it is that requires the sealing at the time. Spray it on, let it sit overnight, and wipe the excess off. That's how simple it is.
That's it. Okay. Yeah,
I think sometimes we just tend to complicate things as humans, and we're just scared to dive into it. We say, sealing, I need to have a pro do it, right?
Well, fair enough. And you think about if you don't understand the simplicity of it, it is, whether you can keep luxury affordable or not, you can, it's still an investment, right?
Yes,
and how many times will a homeowner in the course of owning a home, even if it's their forever home, how many times are you going to do the kitchen and the bathroom?
I don't know, maybe twice in your lifetime?
Maybe.
Forget the one home. I would say most people on average, I would say twice in their lifetime they redo a kitchen.
Right.
Their first home and then their last home.
Yep. Right. It may not even be the same home.
Yeah, it may not sometimes. Yeah, you're right.
So when you see the material that is going out, rooms in the house, are you able to tell what more of the trend is, whether it's kitchens, bathrooms, or stone and stone can be used anywhere?
I mean, right now, a big trend I'm seeing is Taj Mahal. It blew up last year.
You know,
Taj Mahal. Then there's
we've heard that.
Cristallo. Cristallo's the one you can backlight, and the light goes through the stone.
Why is that?
It's a quartzite type of material it's just translucent. That's how the sedimentary rock was formed, and it only comes out of Brazil. So it's very unique to its origin, and light travels through it, so people are pulling LED panels. It's great for a bar, you know, if you want to have it be more of a focal point. But I'm sure there's a cost and all that involved with it. But yeah, when I see those slabs go out, I really get excited.
If your home, no budget, what are you going with? Is that what you're going with?
Cristallo backlit floors, counters, wall. I'll put it everywhere I can. If you're saying there's no budget.
So, but you do need a pretty healthy budget to go.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So, what other trends are you seeing within your industry right now?
I've seen a lot more fluted patterns. In the last 10 years, everything was plain. Like I mentioned, shaker cabinets. Why were they popular? They're very plain Jane, square, bordered. Now I'm seeing more fluted options, convex, concave, smaller patterns, more bold colors, right? Everything is blonde washed. So I'm seeing more of those patterns. I'm seeing more pop of color.
Define that if someone in the audience doesn't know exactly what that is.
How do I explain it? Just different shades of blonde. It's more warmer tones versus a white or a cool gray. Like I mentioned, those were the trends for the last decade. I mean, I joined the industry in 2013, and we were just adapting to that trend. And I was like, yes. But after a few years, I got tired of it. And now I'm finally seeing it change, and it happens very rarely. It's happening every 10 to 12 years.
So you're saying going more from a flat. What's the word I'm looking for? Because I don't want to.
I would say less character.
you
more
say-
cooler tones.
Right, but-
that's how it was before. Now you have stuff with more character.
That's what I'm saying. More
More
like
fluted
textured,
options.
maybe.
I wish I brought samples with me.
No,
I can
that's
show
okay.
you.
So more character, more textured. What do you get a sense, or can you speculate why maybe consumers are getting bolder in those choices? Because it is a bolder choice to go.
Absolutely. I believe everything is fashion. This is fashion for your home. So if I look at trends, for example, skinny ties were popular in the 70s. Everything comes back, in the early 2010s, skinny ties came back for a brief period of time. You can't create new trends. Trends just happen to resurface. And I think what ends up happening is people just get tired of seeing the same thing everywhere.
Right.
And then the designers start introducing or reintroducing, let me say they reintroduce what was popular years ago into the market, and then they adapt it, right?
It's always interesting how trends start, because I can't say you could ever put your finger on it, really. You wonder, it's like, are the companies kind of pulling those strings? Like, do we know what's available? Is it driven at the consumer level, or is it just, who knows?
I want to say it's at all levels. It's what are the consumers buying more of, right? What are the importers bringing in more of? Because they foresee something. We work off data. There's multiple data points. Just our website, for example, we could see who's clicking where.
Right.
There are so many data points, and what we do as a company, and I think we hit the nail on the head every time, is we're able to extract those data points and use them when we're developing the next product. And that keeps us as an industry leader versus an industry follower.
Right. I think we take for granted the type of data that is available as well. You're absolutely right. That's the space I play in as well. And you could absolutely see just even on-page behaviors. And you're right. You're right. You can see where people their attention is turned
Yes.
toward. And now with AI, you don't even need a human to
You're right.
to gauge that.
It's kind of scary.
Do you see AI impacting your industry at all? Yet, at least it will, but
Not too much just yet. I mean, it definitely helps on the marketing side for us. But as far as, let's say, AI replacing someone at our company, I don't see that happening just yet. We're very focused on being personable, whether it's to the customer or the end user or anyone walking into our door. So we want to make sure that the human factor still remains.
sure. And I mean, this is definitely another conversation for another day. But I was recently at a conference, and of course there is displacement, but to some degree. But ultimately, the use of AI with some of the areas that you're talking about here is more apt to enhance a lot
Yes.
of the workforce, to give us our own little superhuman capacity,
Yeah.
than to replace. And the replacement's going to be there in some ways, but it's not. You're right. It's not there, and we don't know what we don't know.
And what I see is that, as these things evolve, AI, for example, we have to embrace it. It's either we learn to use it to increase our efficiency, or ultimately we may lose our job to someone who's willing to use it for
You're
to
right.
increase their efficiency, because that's what the organization requires.
Well, I can tell just by your presence alone that MSI is committed to being at the cutting edge in a lot of different ways and places. I do want to just pivot back as we're closing out here. A lot of our audience is on the investment side,
Okay.
so getting the best bang for your buck.
Yes.
On that side, but not only that, we're hoping that interest rates drop.
Yes.
And we're hoping that more
need
people
that.
do renovations.
Yes.
Right. On the real estate side, I want you move it.
Yeah, let's upgrade you to a bigger
upgrade,
home.
I'd say we need a bigger home, and then get in there and renovate.
Yeah.
But I guess looking at materials wise, what would you say is a good best bang for your buck type of material to use in the home, where you get an optimal quality but are able to stay relatively affordable?
Is your question geared towards any particular, like, floor, wall, countertop, or
Yeah, let's talk kitchens and bathrooms, countertops.
kitchens and bathrooms? So I would highly recommend porcelain for flooring. Porcelain is probably the most robust product for that application. Super easy to clean. On the install side, it is a little bit more cost involved, but long term, you don't have to worry about it if it's installed properly. As far as countertops go, quartz has gained a lot of traction over the years. This might be a biased opinion. I still prefer a natural stone, so I would recommend a granite or quartzite. Right now, it's a Taj Mahal is trendy, which happens to be a quartzite. It's harder than granite, and what's nice about natural stone is it doesn't melt with heat. With a quartz countertop, yes, you may not have to clean it as regularly or wipe it. It's a non-porous surface, but then there's all these other things you cannot do with it. And with it being an engineered product, I know I mentioned this earlier, I wouldn't want to install something in my home that I think is unique. And then, a few months later, my buddy or my buddy's cousin has a very similar product installed in their home. It's no longer unique to me. As far as walls go in the kitchen area, I recommend everyone keep less grout. Grout is what tends to attract grime. So, larger tiles or backsplashes for your countertop. I even see the slab going up as a backsplash, which is a very clean look, and it kind of pairs with the countertop, so it's an elevated look in my opinion.
So even with the pivot toward texture, you're seeing still a lot of the single use of the larger tile.
Full slab backsplash, same as the countertop, or I'm even seeing people use a porcelain tile for their backsplash. It helps minimize grout.
Right.
From a practicality standpoint, I think that's something homeowners sometimes don't take into consideration. hey, I like this. It looks amazing.
I love the
This is
subway
perfect."
tile. Yep.
But we're not looking at the practicality side, and I want to emphasize on that, especially with your audience being those types of people, the investors. You know, think about how it's gonna hold up in the next few years. You know, if you're cooking daily and you have these little pieces with grout all around it, you know, that's the exposure you're putting out to maybe setting yourself up for having to redo it sooner than later, you know?
Right. And I think that's relevant to buyer, seller, and
Yeah,
and
anyone,
investor.
anyone.
You're spot on. So just kind of a last bit here. Give us some of the benefits of working directly with MSI. Just kind of recap that for us.
I think the biggest advantage of working with MSI is we have all types of products. We're a one-stop shop. Right. You mentioned, we've talked about flooring. We have multiple types of flooring. We mentioned wall application. We even have acoustic panels. We mentioned countertops, multiple types of slabs for countertop application. We even have stuff for outdoors. You know, we have pavers. We have stone for the wall. We have so many things. So if you're doing a project and you want to deal with one supplier instead of 10 different people, MSI is who you want to deal with.
Awesome. And how would our audience get in contact with you?
You can reach us on our Instagram page, you know, MSI_Long Island, or you could pop in our showroom, 50 Heartland Boulevard in Brentwood, New York.
Awesome. And it's MSISurfaces.com to check you out online,
Yep.
right?
Check us out on MSISurfaces.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for tuning in as well. If you want to keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok, you can do that at Dream Select Realty or on X at Dream Select Home. If you want to be part of the program, just give us an email at hometeam@dreamselectrealty.com. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Just remember, the dream is real.